Good morning and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Folu Falodun and I am glad to be your host this morning on this edition of the show. We welcome everyone who is joining us on the show this morning. Wherever you might be in the world, we are glad that you are there and we are glad to welcome you on the show this morning. Are you new? Are you joining us for the first time? We are super glad to have you join our tribe. Let's know where you're logging in from. Let's know where you're joining us from. And please share the link, share our YouTube link with your friends, share on Facebook. Let everybody know. Don't keep this to yourself alone. It's too good to be kept to yourself alone. So kindly share with your network and let everyone know that it's happening here every day, 8 to 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays. It's our honor and our joy to have you with us this morning. On the Good Morning Education Show, we discuss and focus on issues in and around the world of education. And this morning will not be an exception. We're going to be discussing a very interesting topic right after the headlines that we would review. I will not be doing this alone. I will be joined by other analysts as we go on in the show. But right now, we will be going on with the headlines from the world of education this morning. Our first headline says, Review policy mandating NIN for JAMB registration. Senate tells FG. I mean, it's been quite Herculean to get people or to get the students who have to register for JAMB to register for NIN. So many of them have not been able to get the registrations done. The process is not as easy as it should be, and so it's really been Herculean. So yes, if the if that is sorted and if that is reviewed, then once that policy is reviewed, it will make life a whole lot more easier for the students registering for JAMB. They could easily have it also done at the venue, maybe arrive earlier, and it's not something that should take so long. So having their name registration done at the venue of the exam might just be an easy way out, and having more centers for them to register could also be the solution. We have discussed quite a number of things that could be done to ease this, and hopefully that someone is listening. Hopefully they're not just listening, they're also taking steps and taking actions towards getting this done. Okay, another headline says, Establishment of Science Village will ensure innovation in Nigeria. Establishment of Science Village will ensure innovation in Nigeria, says Adekpelumi. So, a professor of geophysics at the university, Obafemi Awolowo University, Great Ife. One of the professors at the geophysics and earthquakes seismology department has called for the establishment of Science Village. So yes, so many times many of the things that are taught, not just in science, even in arts, are very theoretical. There's hardly any room for practicals, and even when the practicals are done, they're so outdated. They're processes and methods that innovation and technology have overtaken. So if we have an up and running current science village, well, maybe not just one, but we have them established all over the country, then definitely innovation is going to catch fire. We have a generation of younger people who are very exposed to knowledge and to a lot of who are very open to a lot of information that can help them. Just a little push, and yeah, they catch fire. So that's a good call from Prof. Adekbelumi. Uh, the next headline, ICT experts seek inclusion of digital marketing branding in secondary tertiary education curriculum. Yes, we have been talking about a review in the curriculum and how and what students are exposed to. And really, one of the things that is on the front burner these days is digital marketing. There is hardly any. I don't think we can have too many of those. I don't think we can have enough of them. So including it in skills and younger people being tech savvy, younger people being innovation driven, being very creative, introducing this to them even from the primary school, because we have kids from age 4, some from age 6, already being involved in robotics and AI and AR. So introducing it even from the primary school level, I don't think is so early. I don't think it's an overkill. I think it's just us preparing our future for the future, making sure that they're also armed with skills and options of other things they can do apart from traditional education that says you're either this or you're this or you're that. There are boxes that just fit into. So yes, as we hope that the curriculum is really reviewed and that the future of education is introduced and implemented in the curriculum. Insecurity. AfriInvest decries spate of attacks on schools. I'm not sure we need to really. I'm not sure we need to go over this again. Yeah, insecurity is a problem, and it's becoming a real serious issue for us, and especially in the education sector. Nobody wants to be kidnapped. Nobody wanted to be kidnapped. But when we now take it to schools, and then it's becoming a lot more frequent, and it's becoming like the norm, then something urgently needs to be done about it. So AfriInvest, and I think at this point, we really need to understand that we can't leave this alone to the government. So whatever we can do in our spheres, in our different areas, in whatever we can do in our communities, in our society, to help secure children especially, to help secure our schools. We should. Community watches, um, whatever it is that we can do, we really should do it, because these are our children. If they're not our biological children, some of them are nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever they are. And even if we're not related to them at all, no child should go through the trauma of facing kidnapping or any of those things that come with insecurity. We really should all pitch in and ensure that this is tackled, and then and we all chime in and contribute our quota to security in our schools. Our next headline, uh, parents petition minister over excesses of Anambra FGC principal. Okay, so there are times that, I saw a skit recently where a child was beaten because the parents had not paid fees, and really that's something that happens all the time. But here, where the parents of the Federal Government College in Awka South local government area of Anambra State are petitioning the Minister of Education over the condition of their wards in school. They claim that their children are being maltreated. They claim that the children live under a kind of prison condition in the school. That's not anything that children should be. They should not be. Their condition of living or their condition of schooling should not be described as anything close to prison life. Those two don't even, they should not even be mentioned in the same sentence. They say that the hostels are overcrowded, it's maggot, and the toilets are maggot infested. That's not sanitary nor healthy for the students. And this call should be taken very seriously. Intervention should also come in early so that we don't have an outbreak, either an outbreak of diseases because of the kind of sanitary facilities they have or do not have, or for students having, we don't have to have another case of maybe a child being beaten and has been wounded or by a teacher or headmaster before intervention comes in. This really should be taken very seriously. Babcock Carson graduates 17 in church administration. So the Babcock University Center for Executive Development has graduated 17 of its 21 pioneer students in church administration, and it became the Center for Executive Development in Babcock University became the first collaborator, or is this graduation became the first of its kind, of the collaboration between Church Administrators Society of Nigeria and the university. So we were talking about curriculum earlier, and this is a new one. For the first time, we're having a university graduating people who really are a mainstream university, not a theology, graduating people who have majored in church administration. And on one side of it, I feel this is good for organized religion, especially in the Christian faith now, so that if we have um, professionals, people who are trained to do these things, to actually run systems, then we shouldn't say because it's faith-based or because it's a faith organization, so anything works, anything goes. When we have people who are really trained to handle these things, handle the system, then just probably we can begin to get it right when it gets to certain things along these lines, or understanding that the churches or the church offices run as professional centers, not just as religious based centers. That would work. I hope that we see much more of this kind of innovative curriculum, innovative thinking in education, and that people who really would like this to be their life's calling can take advantage of more and more opportunities like this. Congratulations to Babcock, congratulations to Carson, and congratulations to the students who have also graduated. And yes, that's it on our headlines this morning. We're going on to the topic of the day, and the topic of the day is the teaching gene. The teaching gene, what does it mean? What are we looking at? Yeah, many times, or if we were to take a census, or if I were to ask now, how many of your teachers were females and how many were males, I'm almost certain that there would have been more. I'm almost certain that there would have been more female teachers as against male teachers. Or maybe we restructure that and say at the primary and secondary levels, there are more female teachers than male teachers. And then when you get to the tertiary level, we have more male lecturers than female lecturers. And so this morning we're going to be looking at this. Why is there this, like, why do we have this kind of demographic? Why do we have this? Is it something innate? Is it about our biological makeup? Is it, or is it about necessity? Why do we have more female teachers than male teachers at the foundation level, the primary, in fact, at the creche level? I'm yet to come across any creche where you have male what's now teachers, attendants, or assistants. I'm actually yet to come across any. And then we move on to the primary level. You have almost all. Throughout my primary school, I never had a male teacher. Never. Even though, yes, there were male teachers in the school, but there were not that many. So I went through 6 years in the primary school, and there was no male teacher. Secondary school, of course, because of the specialized kind of teaching of subjects areas. Yes, we had that mix, and then you had different people coming in. So what really is responsible for this? Is it about options that are open to the different sexes or the different genders? Is it about the way we are made up biologically? Is it about what really could be responsible for this? And I would say that, well, for me, I would say that I think at the formative levels, that's at the primary and secondary school levels, um, I think it has a lot more to do with nature and biology and the way we are, the way we're built. It's not all the time that you see men who are comfortable around children. I just feel let the women have them. It's very, they can play with them for a while and then just put them over. Look, go, I need to do this. I need to do something else. Just go meet your mommy, go meet your auntie or your sister, something. Just the attention span or with them at that level is not really great. You can have them a bit for a bit and then pass them on. And then when you get to the secondary level, they're a little old. They're older. They're easier to talk with at that level, and maybe more fun to be with or not, because, well, then you have all of the teenage or preteen hormones coming in. So at that point, the children are trying to assert themselves. They're trying to establish their personality. They're trying to push boundaries to see what works and what would not work. They're they're becoming more aware of themselves. Their personality is beginning to show up. And I think at that point also, it's a little bit of a challenge for for men, not negative challenge now, but trying to assert, look, I am your teacher here, I am the authority here. And it was interesting for me watching this dynamic play out even as a student. So we would have the male teachers and have the male students around them. They will talk all sorts of things. Sometimes they get on the field together on the basketball pitch. I thought that the male students in secondary school, well, in my own school, had it a lot more fun than the female students did. On the flip side, female students could not really have that kind. We didn't really have that kind of rapport with our with our female teachers. It was just like you just knew that you couldn't have that kind of play with them. They were very motherly, And for those who were not mothers yet amongst them, they were very big sisterly. So yeah, for those who were not married yet, it was a little bit more fun. I remember there was one of them who lived on within the school premises, and we could pop into our house. Sometimes we could pop into our house. But for those who were married and who were mothers already, it was like having your mom in school. So they were keeping you in check. They were, they call you out. Yeah, you're not, you're not behaving properly. They call you out. But for the guys, they could have discussions with the males. They could be on the basketball pitch. They could be, even if the teachers were not actively playing, they were there on the sidelines and acting as mini coaches and all of that. So I saw that play out, and it looked like, yes, at that level, the male teachers were, they seem to find some camaraderie with the male students at that point. Everybody had to be careful then. It wasn't as rampant as it is now, but issues around abuse. Nobody wanted anything misconstrued. So yes, there was that. With the female students, definitely didn't have that kind of access to the male teachers. But at that point, I felt it was really maybe one of the best times to be a boy child. I think so. I've never been one, so I don't know what it feels like. But just on the outside looking in, that's what it looked like. Like, it's one of the best times to be a boy child. You have this male authority in your life who is also very cool. I mean, recently, some of my classmates back in high school had a hangout with one of our male teachers, and man, looking at the picture, they looked like colleagues. In fact, my classmates are looking a little older than our teacher, and yeah, they were able to build that relationship going forward. And so, at the foundation level, or at the early years, it looks like the kind of stability or the kind of needs that a child has developmentally are more, um, the female is more attuned to provide those needs, even though we know that for each gender there are certain needs that they can't meet no matter how much you try. So when we say things like, oh, this woman has been the best father to these children, I mean, that's just us being very overreaching. You can't be a father no matter how much you try. But at that level, at the foundation level, all that a child needs, or many of the things that a child needs to develop all round, to be well grounded, to be the needs that they need, that they're drawing on, seems to come a lot more from the females. And if we're realizing this, is there a need for us now to get the best out of the students? Is it enough to feel like, uh, maybe we make this a little more permanent, or we're looking more for female teachers at the early levels? Even though I remember that the male teachers we had in primary school, there's a particular one of them that just, I can't forget, because he was very jovial, very playful. Everybody wanted to be in his class once you got to that very, very playful. So it looks like, okay, so the kind of dynamics that plays out at home, where daddy is the cool one, mommy is the one that, well, not the very cool one. She's the one that hands down all of where parents kind of play good cop, bad cop sometimes. It looked like that in school. So while the female teachers are saying, no, these kids have had enough time on the field, they need to get back to class, they need to do this and that, he's either making faces or doing something that just makes students gravitate towards him, and everybody's just there having fun and all of that. So on that level, or at that level, he provided the fun for the fun balance for the discipline, for the instruction, for every other thing that the female teachers brought in. Now, let's jump a little and go to the tertiary level and the dynamics of teaching at that level and the dynamics of lecturer-student relationship at that level. It's a lot completely different, and the our previous experiences in education don't seem to prepare us for what we meet at the tertiary level. So at that point, you're really an adult, considered an adult. You're going to the university, so you should be able to take care of yourself. You should be able to make decisions for yourself, and the lecturers see it this way. So when they hand down, or when they are being typical lecturers that they are, hand out, you have this assignment, you have that project, you have this to deliver on, you have that to deliver on. It really is, most times it's dispassionate. All they want is for you to turn in your work. All they want is for you to be attentive in class, come in, do what I require of you, recognize me as your lecturer, as the one in charge of this, where the course is a village, the one in charge of this village, and whatever I say is law, and it goes on like that. And so it got me thinking, do we undo what has been done at the earlier levels, at the primary and secondary level, at the tertiary level? Or is that really a way of preparing individuals for adulthood? Is that really a good induction into adulthood, into, well, at this stage or at this level, you really are on your own. At this point, nobody looks at you, whether you're weepy or whatever. Nobody nobody really cares, like, at that level. And is it really, can we trace this back to maybe the way children are brought up at home? Is it really, it's just something that I really would have liked that we have a panel discussion about this this morning. Some literature review says that having female teachers or helps students with a sense of security. Well, that's very up for that's open to discussion. It's open for debate. Like, it just gives students that sense of, yes, I know this person has got my back. I know this person has got me. I'm relaxed knowing that, oh, Miss or Mrs. So and so is there. Some other reviews says that female teachers are fit for the lower level classes, like the primary level especially, but that from higher classes, like the secondary level, the male teachers are preferred because of discipline. So now that makes me, that takes us through a detour to what really, or what exactly, when we say discipline, what exactly is in our head? What exactly is the interpretation of discipline to us? Is it the spare the rod and spoil the child kind of discipline, where it always has to be the rod, it always has to be the spanking, it always has to be something that inflicts physical pain? Or are we talking about discipline where the child actually understands what they have done wrong? Someone was saying recently that, yeah, I had a discussion with someone recently who said that growing up, when they did anything wrong, her dad would call the offending child, and even though you know you'll still be beaten, or whatever the punishment is that will be meted out, but her father would ask that child to first of all defend themselves. So what do you think you did wrong? Why do you think we're having this discussion? And why do you think you should be punished or not punished? You still make a case for yourself. And if at the end of it, well, it really is, many times the child will not say, I need to be punished. The child will just say, forgive me, daddy, forgive me, mommy, forgive me. But then at the end of that interaction, whatever should be meted out as correction is still meted out as correction. So is that our idea of discipline? Because it looks to me like when we say that at the higher levels, the male teachers are better, it sounds more like, oh, they are the ones that have the energy to beat or to cane. They have the more lethal blows to caning, or it sounds like, oh, attaching this identity, this not very positive identity, to the male in the education system, or to the male in the school system at that level. Like, oh, I knew that when I was in the secondary school, if you did something wrong and needed to be caned, that was done under supervision anyway. But not at no time was a female teacher called on to be the one administering the cane. It was the male teachers, and it was some particular male teachers. That wasn't really good for, well, maybe the reputation of those teachers, because we just felt, oh, when it comes to cane, these are the people that hate us. These are the ones that they would always call to beat us. But yeah, that's another part of the literature review. Another thing says that another review says that love for teaching actually could be the could be another reason why we have this disparity, or this divide in the way, in the sexes, or in the gender of the teaching gene. So women are naturally born with empathy and high emotional quotient. I really am not on the side of that. I don't think women are born with more empathy, but I think that with practice over time, women have been expected to show more empathy. Women have been conditioned to be more patient. Women have been conditioned to show more restraint on their emotions. They're kind of trained towards being softer, towards being more relatable. I think it's conditioning. I don't think it has to do with nature, or birth. That, oh, it's because they're more empathetic, or no. I don't personally don't think that is what it is. I'm just reviewing the literature and what it says. It says women are certainly more equipped as against their male counterparts to understand a child's ability to learn quickly. I would also say that I have crossed um, male teachers who are excellent at what they do, no matter at what level. At primary level, at secondary level, they are excellent at it. They understand the students perfectly. They understand, oh, this child needs a little bit more attention, or this child learns better this way. They understand it much better. It's just, well, they're not very many, and when we come across them like that, they they're like the special ones. They're like the very special ones in the field, or in the system. So we should absolutely avoid stereotyping who is more kind-hearted and affectionate, who is more patient, who has higher emotional quotient. I would say that at the base of every of this, I would say that um, at the most essential thing, or the most important thing to all of this, is that there has to be that love for the profession. There has to be that love for teaching. There has to be that care, that concern for the students that one is involved with, and whose lives uh, uh, you're privileged to be a part of per time. Okay, well, so one of the arguments that I came across while following up for this says that it's got nothing to do with gender. Well, it says it's got nothing to do with gender, that a good teacher is simply someone who can connect excellently with the students, and plan and deliver the lessons accordingly. It has absolutely nothing to do with one's gender. And if we talk or if we make reference to the motherly instincts, then fathers also have fatherly instincts. And sometimes I think that the fatherly instinct is even much stronger than the motherly instinct. I think so. If you have ever seen a father um, concerned about their child, or they're called for emergency cases, or your child has this emergency or that, the way they respond, at least those that I have seen, the way they respond sometimes it's a lot more intense than the way the mothers respond. So really, when we talk about these things, instinct, our conditioning, nature, nurture, all of those things, sometimes it's all in our head. It's just the way we have the stereotyping that we have brought into um, the genders and how these things work. We just expect that a good cook has to be a woman. Meanwhile, I think for majority of the majority of the of world-renowned chefs are men. To think about that, the majority of excellent hairdressers are men. I mean, people who tend to women's hair, that my own best hairdressers are men so far. They're the ones that just gets it. You describe something to them, or even not describe, just tell them, just to blow my mind. And really, they blow my mind. They're men. And some of the fastest, safest drivers I know are women. That adrenaline pump is just there for them. It just keeps them going. To this morning, well, looking at the review, the arguments for and against, I think we should be focusing more on the love for teaching, the love for the child, the love for what one is involved in. So if I have chosen that this is my path, this is my career path, or this is what I choose to do at this point in time, then I should be giving it my all. I should be giving it, though some of us know as individuals what we are best suited for. I think it's perfect for us to say, look, I know that I do better in early years education. I just love having that impact at the early years. I feel they're more within my comfort zone. May not really be a good excuse there, but they're more within my comfort zone. I'm a lot more comfortable and free with them. And so I preparing myself for that level of education, or finding myself in that, no, not finding myself, being intentional about that level of education, then I should be putting my everything into it. I know that sometimes we find or we take up jobs in some areas simply because, well, I just need something to pay the bills. And when it gets to that level, maybe that's where we now have some of these disparities very clear. That's where we have things like, the teachers, a male teacher is better than a female teacher, those kind of debate topics where you bring in students and they're talking for or against. Maybe it's at that point where you just have someone who's just disinterested. All they're interested in is the pay, all they're interested in is the salaries. Well, they're not bothered about how the students really feel and whether they're making impacts or not. It's just, well, let's get the dough and get out of here and move on to the next one. But at the base of all of this, we really, really need to be the best on whatever, be the best in whatever field we are in and that we are playing in. Uh, So that we are playing in. Um, at some point, or in some opinion, women are a lot more emotional, and they are maybe too passionate about the delivery, about they can be, women can be very territorial about female teachers can be very territorial about their classroom, about their space, about their students, and oh, my child, my children, we personalize them and say, oh, my kids are. So we may get a little too passion, too attached to the students at that point in time, and sometimes may not be making the best decisions for them because of that attachment, because of that bond of, oh, I need to protect that natural um, instincts, yeah, comes in, and we feel like, oh, I need to protect those children against the world, I need to protect them against everything. So sometimes we just cage them, over pamper them, allow them to get away with some things, or just run to their rescue at every point in time. No, don't do this, or no, don't do that, or let me do this for you, let me do that for you. Sometimes it's not okay to help them with independence, but hey, that is an argument that women are too emotional, less objective. This is not a gender war. This is also just looking at what helps us get the best out of, get the best for our children, for our students, which is really what we do, or what the show is about, having the best. And so, well, in rounding off this morning, I would say that we really need to consider, number one, our why. Why am I getting into this field? Why am I going into the classroom? Why do I want to be an educator? Why do I want to be in charge of, why do I want to be involved in the lives of these kids? What am I seeing in my future and in the future of these children? Am I giving in my best? What's my why? My why determines how I do it. So if my why is wrong, it may really be time for us to re-examine our why. It may really be time for us to consider if we really should continue in that, in this field, or it's time to move on to something that is more stimulating for us, something that is more uh, that we would enjoy better, and let more people who really have a call and a passion for this get into it. Secondly, looking at our nature, yes, we all should know what our nature is, or the kind of person we are, what ticks us off, what pushes our buttons, what's exciting for us or not, and be able to apply ourselves appropriately to this thing. So understanding that a kind of person who, I'm very finicky. I like things being where they're supposed to be. I like, if you take something, you have to adjust it exactly the way it was picked and return it there. I like things being very orderly. Being a teacher at a lower level, it's very essential to know that there will be need for me to make adjustments in some of those expectations, because you cannot expect children to be that orderly, to be that, it's just not what they do. It's not, they're not trying to frustrate you as a person, now not as a male or female teacher, but as a person. They're not out to frustrate you. It is just children, it's just what they do. So understanding that, and now seeing myself as, and saying, look, this expectation, I need to adjust it, especially, well, for my classroom, I need to adjust it so that I'm able to be a better influence. I'm able to be a better teacher. I'm able to do more for my students as it involves them. Yes, developing ourselves, reading up, going for trainings, finding out, taking feedback. Taking feedback helps us, as individuals also to tune and attune ourselves to delivering the best that we can in our fields. We also need to find where we're best suited for. Where am I best suited for? Am I a very serious person that really, children will always find a way to have fun? So if you're very serious, I know some of my teachers, or a particular teacher in secondary school, I cannot remember him laughing. And I'm trying to imagine him laughing now, and it feels like it would have been very weird to see him laugh. He was always very serious, and he would come into class, whether you greeted him or not, he wasn't bothered. He could come into class, have a 1 hour class, talk to the entire room, whether we're listening or not, it wasn't bothered. He would write notes. He would write notes on the board, or he would divide the board into maybe like 3 sections, fill up this section, and he was extremely fast at writing. So he fills up one section with notes, he moves to the next one, he moves to the next one. By the time he's done with the third section, he goes back to the first section and just rubs everything off and writes. I really do not think that was impactful teaching. I think that was his personality really playing out. Like, look, really, whatever you guys do, it's your business. And then his class had a little bit of practical. When it was a practical session, wow, you either are running after him to get what he's saying, or you're just completely lost. So for people like that, I think he would have been better suited to be a lecturer in a tertiary institution where, well, the students are more mature, they're older, they're able to synthesize information a little better than at the secondary and primary levels. They can do more research on their own. Well, back then it was more. Right now you have even primary school students doing research, but understanding yourself and knowing that, look, I'm more suited to this particular kind of this level, well, when it comes to education, or I'm more suited to this profession, that would help a lot. And at the end of the day, that we are able to leave a mark on our students, we're able to be a part of influencing them to be great individuals, to be the best at what they can be, to be the best at what they do, put their best foot forward, and have the satisfaction and the knowing that, yes, I really was part of influencing this lives. Phew. This is the point where we'll be rounding off the show this morning. I've been writing solo, but it's been very encouraging knowing that on the other side you're there, you're listening, you're participating one way or the other. We probably will be taking a break on Thursday and Friday to be influences in the lives of some young people. So we probably would not be here on Thursday and Friday. That's tomorrow and Friday, because it will be necessary for us to be active in the lives of some young people, and that's going to take us from the morning session to right late in the evening. So thank you very much for being there. For everyone who has shown up today, Olushola Olumide, thank you so much for being there. You're one of our regular tribe members, and it's always a delight to have you on the other side. From me this morning, I'm saying have a beautiful day, have a wonderful working day. Whatever you do today, put a smile on somebody's face, and remember that it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Have yourself a great day. Bye.